You know, you could at least turn your butt away from the camera and get your tail out of my coffee. As many shows of the time did, and a lot still do, our second episode began with a quick recap of previous events. Very quickly, we learned Patty Spence is an addict who sold her baby for drug money, Detective Larusso is a cold-blooded killer, Officer Quinn is a sucker, but there were worse things to be, Officer Gaines and his partner were asleep during the class on rules of evidence, 3 bullets from a 9mm is enough to make Tyrone Weeks stop breathing, our captain won't tolerate murder, the police chief is a John Wayne wannabe, the mayor is on the take and basically has no morals beyond self-service, Ralph, the middle-aged lab tech, is married to the young, gorgeous Vicky Quinn. Vicky's partner, Andy, wishes he was Ralph, at least after the sun goes down. We crammed all that into 48 minutes, including theme song, ending credits, and all the rest of the fluff. That's some tight writing, especially since in the midst of it all, we had room for no less than 5 songs. People who watched the show with an unbiased eye saw some of the tightest writing they'd seen all year. As we begin today, we're holding the funeral for Officer Gilbert Braden, the policeman that died in a shootout with Tyrone Weeks. Chief Kendrick is giving his remarks when Vince Larusso comes in late.
I think we ought to talk at some point. Why? I need to know if I can tell him.
That might just be something you'll have to figure out yourself. As for what you think about me, I couldn't care less.
We already know just about everything we need to know about Vincent Larusso from the first episode in this little conversation. He calls himself a good cop, but he has his own definition of what that means. He defines the people around him based on whether or not he thinks they're on his side. Ralph just got a demerit. Ralph is a decent guy. In his position, I'd probably wear that demerit on my lapel like a medal. But Ralph is following the unwritten code of the police. Cops don't rat on each other no matter how horrible the crime is. I have to bring up Rent because if you enjoyed the song Collins sang at Angel's funeral, I may know where the idea came from and where they learned the techniques to make it fit into the overall narrative so smoothly.
You are my brother that can never be denied.
I'm a decent singer and I've been taking lessons for a couple of years to get better. But honestly, if I had pipes like James McDaniel, I don't think I'd be doing anything else 24/7.
I have but one regret. I haven't told you yet how much I love you.
But the world keeps going, so it's back to the dirty work of police business, especially for Captain Hollander.
He chased Tyrone Weeks into the house.
Officer Gaines was one of the cops who went into the house without a warrant and made it impossible to get a case against Tyrone Weeks.
No, sir. But we were waiting for Detectives Larusso and Potts to show up with him.
And once Detective Larusso and Potts arrived, what happened next?
Archie, that's Officer Rolfe, he found the Uzi inside the toilet tank. And that's when Larusso took us outside and said we blew the bust.
Gaines is concerned that he and his partner, Officer Rolfe, are going to lose their jobs. Rolfe apparently did, because soon we'll see Gaines teamed up with a new partner. For now, the captain is interviewing everybody who was even remotely near that house. Larusso's partner, Donnie Potts, is next, but he's sticking to his story.
Hey, I told Internal Affairs what happened. That's all I gotta say.
Donnie, this isn't gonna go away. We should reconsider before it's too late.
The captain doesn't have much to go on besides a hunch and his knowledge of how Larusso's mind works. He's on a fishing trip, but as long as all the fish stay together under the big rock, he won't catch anything. The mayor is trying to work on damage control.
The black community's outraged. They're charging us with covering up the execution of an unarmed black man.
That's one reason why Vince needs his partner's backing. The fact that Donnie is black helps his case. He isn't a racist in any form. If he thinks using you will gain him something, he doesn't care what you look like, he'll do it.
This is no cover-up, Your Honor. A dangerous cop killer attempted to shoot his way out of police custody. Detective Larusso used lethal force only as a last resort to protect himself and his partner.
All due respect, Your Honor, our forensic report indicates that all the physical evidence at the scene was consistent with Larusso's claim of self-defense.
Fans of Chicago Hope will instantly recognize Dr. Dennis Hancock. What they might not know is, when he landed that role, he had only been doing TV and movies for 7 years. He was a stage actor and was in the original Broadway production of Dreamgirls, among other things. He made the jump to the small screen around 1988, and this was his first steady role in a TV series. Needless to say, even though the series didn't catch on, he most assuredly did. And the mayor isn't convinced any more than Hollander is.
Detective Larusso's package reads like a felony rap sheet.
Where did you get that?
She's the mayor. She has access to stuff, including stuff you don't want her to access. She says he's a loose cannon and he needs to be dealt with.
I will not stand by and let you sacrifice one of my bravest men at the altar of public opinion.
Oh, yes, you will, Chief Kendrick. And if you oppose me on this, I'll crush you like a bug.
We're still learning a few things about the chief. For example, we just learned that he has no idea what to do when a strong woman stands up to him.
She treated me like a dog. Crushed me like a bug, she said.
It's politics, Chief. It'll blow over.
Used to be. A woman was like a horse. You could saddle them up. They never complained. Ride them until they dropped, then put a bullet between their eyes. And get yourself another one.
I'm not sure what planet he lives on, but dude, women were never like that. Even when men forced them to wear veils, little hats, called them sir, refused to let them have jobs or rights, guess what? Women were still in charge. Quietly, subtly, sometimes schemingly, but the fact is, the only time we men are in charge of ourselves is when we're at war and killing each other. The rest of the time, women lead us around by the invisible rings in our noses. And with that attitude about women, it's one of life's little mysteries how he's managed to stay single all this time.
If that stone beast thinks she can push me around, she's got another think coming.
Boy, he sure showed her. Some people had trouble with this character and thought he was more of a caricature. And as far as the gunslinging stuff, he is. But otherwise, he's all too real. The scene changes and we're investigating a break-in at a house.
I can't believe it. I feel so violated. I can't tell you.
My mistake. We're investigating a break-in at a palace. This guy and his SO are whining about all the expensive stuff they may have lost, original art, you name it.
They got our blanket.
We had a Navajo blanket, officer. An 1882 Gray Hills Navajo blanket.
The story? The doorbell rings. The housekeeper asks who it is. They say they're here to check the meter. She buys that story and opens the door at 10:30 p.m. They attack her, tie her up, and go to work. What's wrong with this picture? But first, Officers Quinn and Campo have gone upstairs with the lady to see if anything is missing there.
Right now, I just really need to take some time off. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to deal with anyone. Has either of you ever been to Machu Picchu?
Yeah, my kid's on the soccer team there. I take him twice a week. Again, these people are all too real. So steeped in privilege and excess, they can't grasp that there are people out here who live hand to mouth, or don't have anything to put in their mouth at all. It's a little too much for our cops.
Want a Vicky?
I try not to want things I'm never gonna have.
That's the difference between you and me. I want what I want.
Is that why you won't stop hitting on a married woman?
Big screen, color TV, remote control to turn it on.
A VCR, one for you and me.
They got a water fountain in the John.
It's a long way from the thin blue line up to this pleasure dome.
This is one of the more descriptive songs of the series. Their observations about the disparity of income in America were to the point and well explained. Too bad the visuals killed it.
You and me in this king-size bed.
Oh, baby, we're a sexy pair.
Making love sheets.
My fingers running through your hair.
It's a long way from the station house up to this part of town.
Now, it's obvious they're fantasizing here, pretending they're those clueless packages of self-absorption who own this place. Nevertheless, one of the commercials for this show presented a little snippet of that scene without explanation. All they said was, "This week on Cop Rock," obviously trying to imply that Vicky is, in fact, cheating on Ralph. When I saw the episode and saw what was really going on, I wanted to kick somebody in the shin. It's only the second episode, and we've established Vicky as a faithful, loving wife who has no serious interest in Andy. If they suddenly started boffing this soon, it's a clear case of bad writing. I still don't get why we created the commercial that implied just that. They indulge their imagination sequence for a while longer, then come back down to earth.
This is what the good life looks like. How do people get so much? This is what the big time feels like. Take a look, but don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch.
That goes for your partner too, Andy. Don't touch. Partners can be closer than siblings, but they should treat each other like siblings and not try to mate.
Put your hand on the Bible. Both of you put your hand on the Bible. Come on. Hand on the Bible. Let's go. I now pronounce you partners.
What?
You're married.
Look, Captain, this ain't right.
Franklin, do me a favor. Give it a try. If it doesn't work out, we'll try something else.
The idea is that Rose needs to get back out there. He's had a little time to deal with Braden's death, so Gaines is his new partner. The captain is quietly hoping Rose can help turn Gaines into the kind of cop that we know he can be. Rose isn't so sure, but he doesn't have a choice. Captain's orders, captain's rules, captain's word. No questions, no arguments, just do. We have a suspect in the faux White House break-in. The housekeeper is looking at a lineup.
Color with the copper tone skin. Man, you treat us like we're guilty of some terrible sin.
One complaint that I read in that 2016 review was that we have black people and Latino people rapping, which is a racial stereotype. I have a feeling the person who wrote that wasn't very old in 1990, or they wouldn't have made such a ludicrous statement. It took a long time for rap and hip-hop to make the jump to white people, and when it did, it was only marginally successful, if it was successful at all. Rap isn't really my thing as an overall genre, though there are many rap and hip-hop songs that I do like. But let's be honest, shall we? People of color invented the genre. People of color developed and perfected it, and we white people wish we had that much musical originality in us. It's not racist to say that it's something that pretty well belongs to people of color. It's only racist if we don't have the integrity to admit that most of us don't have the talent to pull it off. The housekeeper says it's not any of them, but they caught one of the guys trying to sell the stolen paintings, so now they know she's lying. Yes, the guy's her boyfriend, and she was in on it. They'll both be busted before the end of the episode. After shift is over, most of the officers are unwinding at a local bar. Captain Hollander is also there, and he's going to cross a line.
I'd like to talk to you about your husband, Vicky.
What about him?
He falsified his report in the Tyrone Weeks shooting in order to protect Vincent Larusso.
No, Ralph wouldn't do that.
Not ethical, Captain. Going to someone's spouse behind their back is dirty and cowardly. He starts rattling off all the horrible things that will happen to Ralph if he doesn't change his story, clearly trying to scare her.
What are you telling me this for? Why don't you talk to him? Excuse me.
As I said, he crossed a line. I don't care what the situation is, you do not screw with a guy's family. He accomplished two things. He made her mad, and he lost a chunk of her respect. But he's so hung up on this thing, it's possible he didn't even notice. By the way, most any time we find ourselves in that bar, that same blues song will be playing on the jukebox. Either someone really likes that song, or someone stole all the other records out of the machine. Let's check in on our newlyweds.
Ooh, I bet you're wondering how I knew about your plan to make me blue. When some other guy knew before.
He won't stop singing Motown songs, going on and on about his crush on Diana Ross. By the time he's done, Rose is gonna know that he's down with that culture.
'Cause I'm so lonely. Baby,
Okay, that's
and
enough,
Frankie
gang.
support top.
Just listen to me. I don't like a lot of talking, and I hate singing in the unit. You got that?
They're crazy about each other.
Ralph,
Hmm?
was your report on that shooting true?
Why do you ask?
Hollander told me it wasn't.
Hollander told you.
He can't keep it up, not to her. He says, what I did was protect Larusso. I don't like him, but he removed a cop killer who was going to be free to kill again.
I used to say to myself, everybody lies. Everybody's got an angle and everybody lies. And I met you. You never lied.
I never lied to you.
You never lied at all.
She's probably right, but he's human. He's going to be fallible, and eventually that image she has in her mind is going to meet harsh reality. I have a feeling that just happened.
I guess I thought that no matter what happened, you'd always protect me. You'd always tell the truth.
He doesn't know what to say, so he leaves the room. I'm not sure how much he understood what she meant by protect her, but we're going to find out.
Locked inside a cedar chest, faded flowers carefully pressed against a picture of my mom and daddy's wedding.
The song says he was always there to protect her and watch over her, and we figure out real quick that the reason she gravitated toward Ralph is because she was looking for a father figure more than a husband.
And if it's true, there's not much passion. That's not what I expected. In a world of fear, he makes me feel protected.
This is what she understands love to be. Her man makes her feel safe and secure. As I said, an idealized image that she's managed to live with for who knows how long. And suddenly it's all threatened and she feels like he ripped the rug out from under her whole life. Let's take a moment to talk about the placement of this song. In the first episode, we heard Ralph sing a song asking why this incredible young woman chose him. We could have put a song like this soon after it to answer the question. But we're not answering questions, we're telling a story. That's why we don't reveal the why of it until a crack appears in the facade she's created around him. She suddenly discovers he's not perfect and she doesn't know how to handle it. The song tells us why she thought he was perfect and why it's so devastating to learn that he isn't. I may end up overusing this word a bit when I talk about the series, but it's brilliant.
Ah, Mr. Larusso.
How do you do?
This is my associate Trish Vaughn. She used to be with the district attorney's office. She'll be sitting in with us. Please sit down. Okay. Well, there are lots of good lawyers. What made you call me?
I need a lawyer. You're the best.
That's Sidney White, probably the most high-powered lawyer in the city. He's also probably the most expensive, which could be a problem for Vince. Or not.
Oh, you can pay me whatever you can now. Plus print, television features, video cassettes, and all ancillary rights pertaining to you or a character based on you. I get 50%.
You got it.
I'm not sure Vince realizes what he's signing away, but right now his big concern is staying out of prison, so he can't see beyond that. The day is done and Captain Hollander is home.
Let me get this straight, Mrs. Kunkel. First you complain that my Davy rode his tricycle through your azaleas. Now you want my husband to fix a parking ticket. Are you calling to complain or calling to ask a favor?
The answer is yes. I'm going to nag in your ear for a while and then expect you to put all that aside and ask your husband to do something illegal. Janie and my wife could be kindred spirits because Janie wants to be a painter. As you know, my wife is a painter with her own Etsy shop. I hope it's there. Janie has signed up for a course to learn the techniques, but she had to cancel it today. Why? Because the washing machine went south and they had to get a new one, and you can't spend the same dollar twice. So her day has gone about like his. The biggest difference, she has a preschooler to deal with. He has a whole squad of them.
It's been a hard day. Gonna be a hard night out on the street. Somebody's gonna lose.
The day this aired, my family was virtually without income. We had a new baby and 2 grade school-age children, rent to pay, and my wife had been forced out of her job thanks to good old office politics. I was the stay-home parent because we had a child who was showing signs of serious mental illness, and I was better equipped to handle her, which meant I couldn't get a job. We were on food stamps, Medicaid, and any other assistance we could find, but nothing that paid the bills that were piling up. We had been married for 10 years and were still nowhere. It was one of the most stressful times of our lives, and we had had a huge fight about it. We hadn't resolved anything and were both still pretty angry, so we just sat down to watch TV. As this song progressed, we could both feel our hearts melting. And then came this.
And it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. 'Cause I got all night spent with you. Nothing can go wrong. What we've got is so strong. Holding you now.
Holding you now. That's all I wanna do.
It still gets to me because of that. We looked at each other, both of us had tears streaming down our faces. We grabbed each other, apologized, reaffirmed our love, and set about making a plan instead of arguing. After the show, of course.
It's Larusso's story. It doesn't square up.
Cuff marks.
Don't forget the cuff marks. They don't tell you anything. He says Weeks was reaching across the table for his gun.
That problem?
Well, the entry wounds. We've been diagramming trajectories all day long. I can't make it come out that that arm had any forward extension.
That's what Hollander needs to start building his case. But Ralph isn't finished.
You were having dinner when I got here, you and your family?
Yeah, it's all right. This was a...
No, I'm not apologizing. You threatened her. You threatened her? You scared her? You used her to get to me? You went to her, to my wife. Don't you ever do that again.
Well, gosh, you sure told him. Go to Osborne and file a formal complaint. Spread it around that he did this and let the whole department look down their noses at him for a while. Punch him in the nose. Do something. Don't just stand there and say, I'll let you get away with it this time, but next time. Vicky may be right that he's a little less than stellar in the protection department. By the way, notice the subtle little jab at the captain. He just got done singing a song with his wife about the safety of being at home with your spouse and immediately gets nailed for hypocritically threatening and using someone else's spouse. In many ways, the structure of the show reminds me of the average soap opera. We have multiple storylines going at once, and one episode we might see some of them and not others. For example, we only saw the chief at Braden's funeral, and we didn't really see the mayor at all. That's okay. There's a reason soap operas do that. It works. It enables both the writer and the viewer to juggle several stories without getting them jumbled and without having to sacrifice anything for the sake of time. Even with the various things we have going on, we were able to bring in 2 new characters, Trish Vaughn and Sid Weitz, without missing a beat. All that, plus a powerful song that helped an unhappy young couple find solace in each other's eyes for a while.